What I'm doing here is working on the driver's door. This particular door, the window frame was bent, so bent beyond repair. It's bent and actually cracked. The brass is cracked. But what I'm doing is pulling the doors, all the doors apart, and assessing the condition of the metal to see what needs to be replaced. In this case, I need to replace the window frame. I have another window frame in a spare door here, a spare driver's door. This is probably not much better condition than this door. The door card, of course, is completely shot, and I'm going to have to remake the cards and recover the door cards in what was originally probably leatherette, but I'll do that in a good quality upholstery vinyl. So what I'll be doing, I'll just pull this other spare door apart, look at the condition of some of the mechanisms, the door lock mechanisms and the window winder mechanisms, pick the best of the bunch, and then look at reassembling this particular door. I've just quickly cleaned the driver's door to see what repairs I've got to make to it, and what I've found is that there's rust holes here in the corner, and there's a bit of accident damage down here, a few dents bent down there. And when I cleaned up the inside, I've naturally found that all the bottom of the inside of the door is all rusted out, so that all needs to be replaced. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull this panel out, pull it off the door, remake it, and then fit it back in. And while I've got that out, it will give me access to the rust damage in the door, which was behind the steel support braces. There are two of them in the door, with a bit of soft felt behind it which absorbs water and rusts. So I'll address that, but when I've taken this out, I can access that rust section a lot easier, and I'll oxy weld a patch into that and hammer weld it so I can keep it flat. But at this stage, what I'll do is I'll take this section out, repair that, and then work on the door skin itself. After that, I'll be fitting the door, and just a brief look at the fit. I'm probably going to have to remove a bit of metal from the bottom of the door to get a reasonable gap, so I don't actually scrape the door when it closes. I've now taken the bottom section of this door off, and obviously the bottom of it is all rusted out, and looking at what I've actually got to repair, I'll probably have to cut back to about there and make all this piece and weld it on. The other thing I've found is that when I've cleaned up the surface rust on the bottom, which was behind this panel, it's heavily pitted. Now, I knew it was rusted out here, which I could see from the other side, but looking at all of these pits, even though they're not all the way through, they're easily probably 3/4 of the way through. So I'll have to actually cut all the bottom section of this door off and replace it with new metal. So I guess the lesson to be learned here is when you look at the outside, the only rust that you could see was rusted holes here and in the corner. Now if I hadn't have removed that panel, I wouldn't have known that this was as badly rusted as it was, because on the other side this looks like clean steel with no holes. So what I'll be doing is that with all the doors I'll take the bottom sections off to actually look at the condition, even if there are no rust holes appearing on the outside. I've finished welding the driver's door. I've got a new patch in the centre there. I'll put a new patch right along the bottom. Had a little bit of difficulty with distortion in the panel, but I've managed to get most of it out just by panel beating, and what little is left I'll just fill with body filler. The inside of the door, I rebuilt the bottom section of the panel there. It was rusted through, and the other sections, the braces inside the door, it had actually rusted right through. That was actually sitting in behind that patch and rusted right through the strengthening piece and the metal. So I've welded a new section on the bottom, formed it up, so that will go on the inside of the door. Just cover them with a nice coating of zinc, and what I'll be doing now is to fit the inner section so I can actually fold this metal in around onto the surface here to give shape and strength to the door. Then what I'll be doing is checking the actual fit and the door gaps, and I may need to actually put some lead filling on the bottom here just to even up the gaps, but I'll see how I go. Now after I fitted the door, I found that the gap on the bottom here was about 3mm too wide. So what I've done is I've actually filled that with weld. I've just finished filling it roughly at the moment, and then what I'll be doing is fitting that to the door cavity and then gradually filing and smoothing that down to get the right profile, and then hopefully I'll have an even gap across the bottom of the door. I've just spent a considerable amount of time adjusting the door gaps on the driver's side of the car. What I've been able to do is I've actually had to add metal all the way along here, just a MIG beading to get an even gap. It's not necessarily the same gap all the way, but it's within a few tenths of a millimetre, but it's even. It's a nice even gap. I've also had to make adjustments to the window frame to ensure that the gap is even down alongside the seal and the centre pillar, and also along the front section.